Hey guys, this is Primeval, and today I am going to be playing starting another single player series. This time it's with Fruit Strike's No Quitters multiplayer patch mod, which I'll be using in single player and on Deity. And there are two reasons for this. One, I was thinking of getting a multiplayer multi-session game going during my usual morning time slot, but I didn't organize that far enough ahead of time. So if there are people interested in playing in 1 hour chunks during the week, during my normal Twitch streaming times, let me know in the comments or send me an email or something, and then we'll try to get that going. But in order to test out what this mod's all about, we're going to be playing on single player on Deity, which is not a fair representation of multiplayer at all. So the motivation for this mod, as I understand it, is, well, I mean, Civ has been out for, I guess, over 5 years now. And, they've made a lot of changes to spice the game up. This mod is spearheaded by Fruit Strike with a lot of input from the multiplayer community. But apart from making changes for the sake of making changes, it's also to make all of the lesser used policies trees, the lesser used units in multiplayer more viable and more exciting. So we'll discuss that in game. I'm also going to be using this NQ map script. I think the objective of this is to have fewer isolated players and more even starts. It also, well, maybe not even starts, but it ups the food value by adding different bonus food resources around your capital if you happen to start with a lot of low yield tiles like desert or tundra. But I haven't played too much with that. I haven't read too much about that or the mod itself, so I'll try not to speculate wildly. So we're using that map script. We're going to play with the settings that are usual for online multiplayer. I think sometimes in multiplayer they might drop the number of city-states down a little, but that'll be fine for now. But on Deity. So this isn't going to be a fair comparison. We're not going to be able to demand tribute from city-states. We're going to be way behind on tech, but we are going to be playing on quick speed. And with the random leader on this NQ Pangea map script. So that's probably enough preamble for now. Let's hop right into the game.
Greetings, noble Iroquois.
And Banner Zero wants to point out that the single player mod works on any speed if you don't want to play on quick speed. But although I won't be getting used to the exact playing against the AI, especially an AI with a huge amount of bonuses, is not a fair representation of what it's like on multiplayer. Like, yeah, you won't be able to accurately test how you're doing versus your opponents, how you're doing versus how aggressively they're expanding, or anything like that. But at least by playing on quick speed, I'll get used to some of the timings that I'll be encountering when I have the time to dip my toe back into multiplayer. So we got the Iroquois. One of the big changes, well, one of the only Civ-wide changes in this mod is that the Longhouse, let's see if that's actually updated in the Civilpedia. I don't know if that's something that Fruit Strike has been doing. It does seem like a little bit of extra work, but let's have a look at that. So if we go and have a look at the civilizations, what's the symbol for that? That's religion, civilizations and leaders, the Iroquois, get the Longhouse. So normally the Longhouse, instead of being the workshop providing the all around 10% boost and 2 production, instead it just adds +1 production per forest tile, which usually ends up being much weaker. And so the change to the Iroquois is that now the Longhouse in this NQ mod adds 10 production, or 10% production, just like a regular workshop. So that's nice. The other change that's been made is for multiplayer, Venice is essentially unplayable because it's very hard to stay viable with your opponents. If you only have one city and any other cities that you acquire through either their special abilities or conquest, you can't actually control their production on. So Venice has been removed for multiplayer, which seems fine to me. I guess some people might have some ideas of how they might want to change Venice so it might be more viable, but just removing it makes good sense to me. Alright, now, how do we like our starting location? We've got a bunch of forests, which is going to be good for the Iroquois. We've got 2 granary resources, wheat and deer, so that should be some nice faster growth once we get the granary online. Some bonus resources as well, the sheep. This deer is just out of range of the capital. We'll have a lake, so we'll be able to build a garden with a source of fresh water, but no watermill, not a big deal, and 2 luxury resources. I don't see something much more appealing that I want to go to. It is going to be flat land, but I think we'll just settle here. That'll be fine for now. Ooh, and a lot more silk. Okay, so we're going to go and lock down a good food tile and switch ourselves over to production focus, although that's not really going to make a difference on with these current tiles. So let's actually go to gold focus so that the new citizen will pop up on this tile, and we'll get a little extra gold there, and then we'll go and directly reassign him to the wheat on the following turn. Now it's for production on the multiplayer map against humans who have the same number of units as you. It definitely makes sense to get up there and race into the ruins. And since the AI is actually kind of has some unusual scouting practices, it's definitely possible to grab a lot of the ruins from them. And since we know we're on Pangaea, we definitely want 2 scouts is probably going to pay off a lot faster than a monument culture-wise, and definitely in other rewards. So let's start off with pottery into shrine. The changes made really boost the bonuses you get from all of the trees, but in particular, well, not in particular, but I'll note now that there have been huge boosts to piety. So the opener gets +2 faith. Organized religion gives you a boost in both science, or rather faith and culture for temples, and a whole bunch of changes across the board that if the AI goes piety, and that does happen quite a bit, they'll found a religion probably much faster than they would in the base game or unmodded game. So while I do want to get a shrine up to get a flow of faith going, alliteration apparently is not my friend. Wait, that wasn't even alliteration, was it? Well, you've heard me complain about mornings before. Anyways, let's go grab those ruins. We got a free spearman upgrade. Now, what I was saying is, even if we can't found a religion, or we found a late religion, having a good bit of faith would be good, because our neighbors are bound to found faiths that let us and spread their religion to us, and we can purchase all those nice happiness-granting buildings, the most notable of which would be the pagoda. And if they happen to grab Jesuit education, then we can go and buy ourselves some early universities, or what have you. So, you know, I'll probably take a detour at some point in time, get a shrine up, and plus I am trying to keep in mind some of the timings and builds that I might be doing in multiplayer, and in multiplayer, going for the religion is definitely viable and quite a nice boost. Daniel 4165, we are playing single player on Deity. If you are interested in joining a multiplayer multi-session game, so a game that will be played in multiple 1-hour chunks at this time on weekday mornings, I'm going to be starting such a multiplayer series this coming Tuesday. Alright, so we were saying that we wanted to get a double scout, so let's get to work on that. Yes, and they have added a bunch, or Fruit Strike has added a bunch of new Pantheons. Let's see if that's been updated in the Civilpedia. I believe it has. I think I checked this on yesterday's stream. Yes, so we've got a whole bunch of new Pantheon beliefs, and Daniel 4165 is really liking the Iroquois with God of Craftsmen. So let's have a quick look at that one and see if we agree. +2 production in each city. I mean, if we're going to be spamming a lot of cities, then especially early game, that extra 2 production per city will be very welcome. Especially if they're going to be small cities. Ooh, we've got Lake Victoria right here. And a city-state. Fair enough. Some more ruins. And we just grew here. We went over to the silk, but I want to keep on growing, so I'll switch that over to the wheat. And we're eventually going to expand to one of these hills, I suppose, but none of them are going to give us the 2 hammers or more than the base hammers. I'll leave us on gold focus for now. And we'll grab the ruins here. Ah, yes, and a good reminder there is that we do get free movement or free city connections when the forests, we can use forests as roads when they're within our cultural borders. So that's even more motivation to do some city spam here. There have been, in this mod, no significant changes to tradition. Oligarchy and aristocracy were swapped. Liberty, though, has gotten a huge buff in its finisher. The finisher adds plus 15% production to buildings that are required for national wonders, and plus 100% production for the national wonders themselves, which really removes a lot of the drawbacks from city spam. So we could definitely go for that. I think the only other change here is the bonus of plus 25%. Excuse me, I'm still getting over a cold. Plus 25% gold from meritocracy here. Alright, so if we keep on scouting and find that we don't have, our neighbors aren't too close, we could definitely go for several cities right off the bat. Okay, let's go for the shrine. And we'll grab animal husbandry, reveal the horses. I don't think I need to rush for anything else, so after animal husbandry we'll go and reveal the iron for another production boost. I believe we are playing on strategic resource balance. That was probably the settings that I had going last time around. So we're guaranteed horses and iron, which is guaranteed boost to our production. So I'll get that going right away in lieu of, or since I don't have any other techs that I'm in a rush to grab. We just sent Kuala Lumpur. We're the first to meet them. So it would seem that our AI opponents are a little further away. Rushing for Lake Victoria might be nice. We have a mountain. That could be a really good science city, observatory, high population fueled off of Lake Victoria. Something to consider anyways. Keep on rolling here. Star of Hope, welcome to the stream. And let's see. Right, so if we were in single player, we would definitely go and pledge to protect Kuala Lumpur there, increase their resistance to tribute demands. But since we are playing on Deity, those pledge to protects are more likely just to get us into trouble. Although no one else has met Kuala Lumpur yet, and if we get a lucky city-state quest, alright fine, we'll pledge to protect Kuala Lumpur. But in general, I don't usually pledge to protect on Deity. So he chose a poor route for our scout here. He's trapped behind these marshes. He'll take extra damage from that archer. At least we'll go and meet this city-state. Monaco with 30 gold there. Cultural city-state. 2 cultural city-states. So the biggest changes to the game are the changes in the social policies. Basically, they've made all the policies outside of tradition and rationalism to a certain extent much stronger. So that means if we can befriend these or ally up with these cultural city-states, we'll be able to unlock the super powerful stuff all that much sooner. Now the AI has huge bonuses to social policy acquisition, so they're going to get the rewards. Okay, so we're really close to the Celts. The rewards, the bonuses from this mod, way before we do, but hopefully we'll be able to make better use of them than they can. That is, better use of the bonus is from the mods than the DDAI can. The ambiguous they. Alright, so social policies. We actually are kind of close to the Celts here, but if we can rush the city over to here, take advantage of Lake Victoria. It doesn't look like there are any luxuries in the intervening space. We could settle some stuff coastally as well. Settling back here would get us the mountain, eventually the whales, access to 3 coastal resources. We've got sheep, 2 sheep, cattle, and Lake Victoria, but I'd have to buy my way over, and potentially in a race with Kuala Lumpur, we might want to acquire that natural wonder, but somewhere over here, I'm liking that. It's probably not the best spot if we were playing multiplayer, since it's we won't have the bonus defense from a hill. But I am liking that spot. Now, as for other areas we would expand to that would justify going for Liberty, we've got Citrus to the south. And we're going to skirt completely around that camp on our way back out. Okay, we'll scout slightly to the south and see what expansion options we have. Apart from the Celts, it does seem like, although we have no idea what's down here, we are going to have a lot of space to expand. So let's go and open Liberty here. There's a slight boost to the Liberty opener. It also grants +1 gold. It's going to be more useful for us than the honor opener or the piety opener here, since we're definitely not going to snag. We're unlikely to snag a religion here, especially if any of our AI opponents goes down piety, since they'll be able to unlock that a lot faster. So let's go for Liberty. And if we're not going to be going down tradition for the boost from legalism has been, well, Firaxis moved it down to the second tier here, so you're not able to get the early free monuments. So we're going to have to build one of our own at some point. And Daniel points out that it's normal to go, if you are planning to go Liberty, to build the monument after the scout. We went for the shrine, but we'll finish that shrine out, and then we'll go and work on the monument, unless there's something more pressing that appears. Extra population. Let's see. What I want is to be working this gems tile, which does get me a lot more gold. Well, just 1 more gold compared to the silk, so maybe rush buying that wasn't strictly necessary. But we can get that improved. That'll up our production. So I'll also want a worker. Question is, should I wait for the free worker from Liberty? Almost certainly not. Alright, so the Celts are willing to pay us for an embassy. I'm happy to see that and to receive that gold. And if we want them to send us a trade route, we should try to clear out that camp. We do have a spearman, a free upgrade there. We will go and do a circuit around our capital, and I guess this guy will just scout the coast until he has somewhere better to go. Or would it be better if we were hunting down ruins? Let's just start dealing damage here. Although, that wasn't really the best exchange. Alright, we'll just keep on exploring, especially since we're outnumbered here. Alright, run away. Hide in that forest. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so we've got this coastline covered. Citrus to the west and the south. We got a coastal city going to hook up the citrus and then provide food to what I'm hoping is going to be a super science city. That is a high population city. It's going to be low on production though, so building the national college there might not be viable. It's certainly feasible to make a city other than your capital, your national college city, and concentrate on sending all of your food and growth to a city with an observatory and the national college. It can be pretty efficient for science purposes. But since the city that I'd plant over to take advantage of Lake Victoria would be fairly low on production, getting that national college set up would probably take more turns than I'd want, even with the new finisher for Liberty that gets me the 100% reduction bonus. And having this camp right here, Daniel points out that that'd be a nice opportunity for us to steal some Celtic workers without actually declaring war, so the Barbs could take the workers and then we could liberate them and use them for ourselves. Since we're right at the edge of the map here, let's just quickly explore that. It does look like all coast. What we can do then is heal up on this side of the river, keep an eye on any potential worker steals, and then perhaps grab them for ourselves without major diplomatic consequences. So we've got another mountain here if we want to set up another, perhaps, non-capital science city. And I think I do, despite the low production, I do want to try to get over to Lake Victoria here. I mean, there will be the hills, and they're just not going to be, if I do settle here, they're not going to be 1, 2, 3. They're not going to be acquired for quite a while. The natural border expansion is going to avoid them. Alright, so let's heal up and grab these ruins. We discovered calendar. That'll be nice for all of this silk and the citrus eventually. There's sugar to the south. Okay, so we're definitely going to send a settler down here. And fairly soon, there's the bison, the horses. Okay, so there's the monument done. Let's go and get to work on a worker. Still growing quite slowly. I would like a granary. Can I afford to rush by that? 250. Granary in 6 or a worker in 7. We're going to be pumping settlers soon-ish. 9 turns from now, do I want the worker or do I want the granary? I want the worker first, although a granary here would get me 4 extra food. Well, 4 extra food. Yeah, look at the worker. The worker will hurry along the first settler, get some of these luxuries hooked up, and then after that we'll worry about the granary. Alright, so we do have an opponent right to the south. I'm going to want to go and claim this land before the Siamese start moving in this direction. We're going to settle somewhere adjacent to this mountain. The grassland hill would be the safest. We'd have the sugar just outside of our cultural borders. We'd have the citrus just outside the cultural borders, and we could eventually expand to the horses. But the Siamese are likely to settle a city there and take it from us. So yeah, that's going to be our first choice, and then if it doesn't look like Kuala Lumpur is going to beat us to Lake Victoria, we'll settle the Lake Victoria city. And we've just met Portugal. Daniel 4165 is saying that if we're going to be pumping settlers, we should probably have some military units to protect them. I'm not really worried about that. Against human players, maybe. But so long as we don't have barbarians running around everywhere, which, given the amount of empty space, is definitely a possibility, if we're not going on a long walk, should be able to get away without any military escorts.
Muito bem.
And those are the corners that I'd be happy to cut here. So we just met Cyan.
เราพ่อของรามคำแหงกษัตริย์แห่งสยามนับเป็นเกียรติอย่างยิ่งที่
Accept some gold per turn for an embassy, which is nice. It increases our diplomatic relations, and of course the gold per turn is very welcome. We're going to get the production boost here to get us closer to collective rule. So the 1 extra production is welcome. We're not currently making a building. I think, yeah, we'll definitely go and push up the worker. And then it's 10 turns until I get collective rule. Do I want to wait on that? I probably shouldn't. But my desire to get the most production efficiency really wants me to put in the granary as well. But we'll see how I'm feeling about that 5 turns from now. And Matter Zero tells us that the radar trick, where you use the pathing with civilian units to look for hostile units, notably barbarians, or even enemy or non-self units to find them in the unrevealed or non-sighted fog has been removed with this mod. So that's definitely cool. That was definitely a very gamey mechanic, not really something that was supposed to be part of the game, as far as I can tell. So it's nice that they were able to remove that fairly easily, which means we won't be able to check if there are enemy units if we want to send our settler out blind. So maybe excuse me, when one of these scouts is done, we'll send them back to keep an eye on where we're going to send this settler. Okay, do I want to meet this city-state and put myself potentially in danger of this hand axe? Yeah, let's go meet her there. Let's say Mercantile city-state for the food boost. And we do have barbarians wandering around. Alright, so we've got 2 votes for building the granary. I am going to finish this worker, although he might be in danger of being attacked by barbarians here. Let's delay the worker slightly and try to get this guy back to protect the worker then. And we'll see if these guys are making any trouble for the Celts. They haven't been yet, although we do note that they haven't been improving tiles within range of those barbarians. So that's an oddly intelligent move by the AI. So let's keep an eye on what's happening here and also try to get us over to protect our worker. We are delaying the worker for the arrival of this spearman. Ooh, we've got some gold here. That would be some aggressive settling. Definitely tilt the Siamese towards war for us if that wasn't already their plan. There's a Pantheon, we're at turn 18. And with the spearmen heading back, these scouts can actually just go and keep on exploring, which is actually the ideal situation. Alright, so that guy's gone. Let's get this worker out. Thank you, Leo. Twitchy2014, welcome to the stream. We've discovered iron. That's going to up our production slightly. Ooh, do I want... Okay, we'll give up on some of that gold per turn in favor of a little more production. And Red Fury 81 wants to see if we can make the granary and +1 pop sync up. We could, but there's no actual benefit for that. Maybe you're thinking of a previous iteration of CIV where granaries acted the way that aqueducts work, where they save food every time you grow. But I don't think there'd be an advantage for doing that with the granary. It's not really tied into population apart from number of citizens able to work the granary enhanced bonus resources. Alright, so research-wise, let's go over to... well, for luxuries, we already have everything we need unlocked. We've got calendar, we've got mining. Kuala Lumpur is expanding towards Lake Victoria. It's very possible we're going to miss out from that. We also have to remember to save the gold to buy the tiles unless we want to settle right on it. But then we would give up on the mountain, and I wouldn't be too excited about getting all that bonus production, especially without, or all that extra population from the bonus food, especially if we're not going to have the mountain for the observatory or hills to make use of all of that extra population. Let's see, Warlord Rain asks how we have the hub to show the number of turns before the next policy. I'm using the enhanced user interface, which, let's see, which you can Google. I don't think my mods have anything, a Nightbot command for that, but feel free to make one. And what else do we have here? Thanks for posting information about the NQMod, which is the mod we're showing off. I always forget that I have the Enhanced User Interface mod up. Right, so just met Mogadishu, and let's put a brief cut in here for YouTube. Yeah, and then we'll choose our next tech.